Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the one and the only, the greatest podcast known to man. That name is What's Good America. I am C. Turner, a.k.a. the Black David Hasselhoff, a.k.a. Tiberius Jackson, a.k.a. Kobe Thatcher, a.k.a. Invisalign Shouter, you feel me? And I am proud to be one half of the greatest tag team since the Nasty Boys, the greatest tag team since the Steiner Brothers, all right? The greatest tag team since the Bushwhackers. Let's put that out there. I just wanted to let you know that I know my wrestling, and I'm out there like.
I like it. I like it.
Engaged, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Saturday Night, Mr. West Coast, Mr. South Suburbs, the one and only put your C's up, James Madison, Big Game Walton III. What's going on, baby?
Hey, what's good, America? Hey, let me tell you something, bro. All I know is I didn't know what the topic was until 5 minutes ago. And this is going to be hilarious on a whole lot of levels because I mean, to me, this is a perfect way for me to come back from a little family sabbatical. So let me do what I normally do. You can tell I haven't had any of it yet because I sound very coherent. Shout out to Sheik. Shout out to Screwball. Shout out to Stella Rosa. Shout out to White Claw, as I am the unofficial watermelon sponsor of White Claw. You will be tagged in this White Claw. Oh, yes.
So will you, Stella.
Hey, let's just do it, man. I mean, we coming at it from all sorts of angles on Spotify, man. Who we talking about tonight, bro?
We need to be talking about this Stella Rosa pineapple. All right, now.
I mean, don't make me go back there and grab my bottle. I got a couple bottles over there. They ain't chilled like they should be, but
I gotta re-up from what I'm tasting. Hold on, let me get my sip going here.
Shout out Stella Rosa.
Stella be showing us love. Hey, Stella be showing us love on IG, so I can't even be mad at Stella Rosa.
Hey, well, we need to make sure we tag him in everything. I don't get a Stella Rosa shirt. Ain't no shame in me. I'm telling you, Screwball Whiskey. Come on now.
So we are talking about an NBA player that, I'll be honest with you, if he would never said anything back the way he said something back, nobody will ever talk about him again because this man was truly a waste of athletic ability, of size, and this man is one of the two flaws in the GOAT. And we're referring to Kwame Brown. Like, you know how bad you gotta be to make Jordan look bad? That's how bad Kwame Brown is. So here's the thing.
Well, I guess Kwame Brown's not coming on.
Let me say this.
I guess Kwame Brown.
I don't know if Kwame Brown will ever hear this or it ever gets around to him because I know he's the topic of everything right now. But I'm not Agent Zero and all that and Steven Jackson where I got to be politically correct and he was talking about how you know where you can see me and all that. Bro, ain't nobody scared of your punk ass, man. Let's just be honest with you. You are a 7-foot waste of space. Like you are. I will never get mad at anybody for getting their money, but you should be locked up for grand theft, larceny, bank robbery because the bag they gave you to be a waste of sperm is ridiculous. So, for those of you who don't know, Kwame Brown
will never be on the show. I mean, you just didn't even waste any time. We 4 minutes in.
No. Kwame Brown is mad that NBA players told the truth about him. Let's just call it what it is. He's mad that NBA analysts who've been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years or whatever told the truth about him. And he had the nerve to come back with a 7-minute, 8-minute, 10-minute rants a couple different times about how essentially put some respect on his name and nobody need to be talking about him and he a grown man and you don't play with grown men and this, that, and the third. Clearly you don't play with grown men because you never did. Ever.
Oh.
Ever. Hey, well, I got a question for you. Do you know what Kwame Brown's best game was?
Like statistically?
Yeah.
You know, as a guy that knows a lot of things when it comes to that type of stuff, Kwame Brown's best game is not something that's floating around. I'm gonna be honest, I never thought I would ever need to know that. Please let me know. Wait, can I take a guess though?
Please.
All right, I'm gonna say Kwame Brown's best game as a pro. He probably had like 24 points, like 7-8 rebounds, maybe a couple assists, a block. That's what I'm guessing his best single game totals are.
His best game was 26 and 9
Wow.
rebounds.
So I came pretty close without even knowing nothing.
And that was his career high as a center. Was 26 and 9. You roll out the bed 7 feet tall, and all you can get is 9 rebounds. Are you kidding me? So before I go on my rant about Kwame Brown, he got mad because people told the truth. And he's now snapping back at everybody because they're saying what everybody has said for the last 10 years about Kwame Brown. He was a waste. You are a bust. Like, you were co-signed by God. Like, God co-signed you. And you did nothing. Like, God gave you the keys. The GOAT gave you the keys to the empire. Stamped you. You certified by the GOAT. That puts you above reproach. You can do no wrong. You know how bad you gotta be for the GOAT to co-sign you, and everybody say, all right, well, Jordan said he all right, so I'm gonna leave him alone. But then you so bad that, damn, Jordan co-signed this? Damn. Maybe Jordan is slipping.
Well, it definitely made your dog sad. That's for sure right there.
Clearly.
When you said that, that was hilarious, by the way. We couldn't have paid for that sound effect to time up any better.
Dude, so Kwame Brown will go down as one of the best high school basketball players of all time. He will. He was a force, which makes you now think, who was he playing against in high school? Because with LeBron, you saw it. Like, you saw the flashes of greatness. You saw him driving. You saw him pulling up. You saw the dishes and everything else. With KG, you saw the intensity. You saw the tenacity. You saw the greatness forming. With Kwame, all you really saw was like a bunch of dunks. Because I gave this man a view on YouTube to look at his high school highlight tape. It was a bunch of dunks. That's it. It wasn't no mid-range game. It was no distributing the ball or anything like that. It was just, I'm 7 feet tall in high school. Dunk. Spin off. Dunk. I'm on a fast break. 2-hand dunk. That's it. Now, mind you, I can go on a rant. I can do this the entire show, but because I am a team player.
No, I'm having a ball just listening to you go.
Perfect. So, Kwame Brown played basketball in Georgia somewhere. All right. Look at who he's playing against in this damn highlight tape. All right. It's like Sisters of the Blind and Poor. It's insert magnet private school here, there, and everywhere. He put up ungodly numbers for nothing. Like, and he was recruited by Duke. North Carolina. I feel like if he would have went to college, it would have saved us all a lot of time. It would have took that blemish off of Jordan's record. Because honestly, Jordan co-signing Kwame Brown is like the Bulls going 81-1 instead of 82-0. Like it's an asterisk on everything that Jordan does because of how bad Kwame Brown was. Like was Kwame Brown on that Laker team that went to the finals with Kobe?
He was not. His Laker years were the years basically after the Shaq trade. So it was like the Kobe years where Kobe was, leading the league in scoring.
Right.
Scoring 81, but, losing in the, second round of playoffs. And
so
he got traded for Pau Gasol. So
yeah,
that's I feel like that's Jerry West winning again. Because I feel like Jerry West, I have to double check that while you're going. But I think
that's the good thing that came out of this is that the Lakers got Paul Gasol out of it. Now, what was said was, because I know I'm just ranting without the cause and everything. So what was said was, among other things, Kwame Brown was a show horse, a show pony. All right. What a show pony is, for those of you who don't know about horses and things like that, equestrian. A show pony is one of those things that it's like the pony that kind of trots out and it's like, oh man, that's a decent looking horse. And like it is like a little gallop and like, oh, that thing probably could go fast. But if you put it on the racetrack against the other horses, it'll get smoked. If you put it in like the little obstacle courses that they do in equestrian, it couldn't perform. Kwame Brown was a show pony. That's what he got called by Gilbert Arenas. Like, and it's true. Like he looked the part. That's it. Okay, so they said he showed potential and glimpses, but then as soon as he showed a glimpse of anything good, he showed who he really was. That's true. This is coming from your NBA peers. Now, I get you being mad at the media and somebody like, if Stephen A. Smith says it, okay, I can get you being mad at it. But if your teammate says this, Gilbert Arenas is your teammate. If he says this, it's true because this man is around you 7 days in a week. He's around you 6 days. And he says, like, oh, but he looked the part, but he was trash. Like, he went back so far, it's like, well, listen, we had Stackhouse on the team. Arenas was like a young rookie at the time. And we had Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown was one of the higher paid cats. Stackhouse was the highest paid. Gilbert Arenas was making his money too. And you making all this money and like you averaging 5.8 points a game at 7 feet tall. That's trash. Like that is garbage. Like at 7 feet tall and all this potential, and you got the GOAT co-signing you, and you're averaging single digits as a 7 foot center that is honored and blessed by the GOAT. How in God's name did this happen? Like, how did he make it past? Well, I guess I'm answering my own question, how he made it past the whole NBA trials and the tryouts and all that. When you got a co-sign from the GOAT, you ain't really got to worry about much. I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, you point to Gilbert Arenas and maybe just go look at some things to make sure. And to answer the Jerry West question, Jerry West was actually gone from Memphis before the Kwame Brown trade happened. So that ought to let you know that Memphis was basically on the brink of sucking ever since that move. But no, they had some good moves, obviously, with Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph, who did some good things. Mike Conley Jr., they had some good years. But, the Gilbert Arenas thing, like, that's a hard one for, I mean, let me put it to you this way. Like, Gilbert played with them.
Yeah.
And Gilbert, who I love Gilbert Arenas, loved him as a player. Didn't like his decision making off the court because I think he robbed us of another 2 or 3 years.
Good years.
And when you watch things and you think about Gilbert Arenas, he's really, part of the evolution of what we see at all of our point guards. Now, Gilbert Arenas was shooting the ball from 30 feet away. And this is just not me watching this podcast. I remember him putting 60 on Kobe. So,
buckets.
Still in the last little bit of the defensive era. But Gilbert Arenas played with him for 2 years. And you're talking about Gilbert Arenas as a guy that was drafted in the second round with first-round talent. So he's a guy that put in the work to get the money that he got. When you go look at his stats before his contract year came, he had been averaging about 25, 26 points a game, and the Wizards were going to the playoffs. They were losing to LeBron, but they were getting to the playoffs. So obviously, reading some things, Gilbert and Kwame had some issues. So no wonder he's upset. But it's hard to argue with a guy that's averaging 27 points a game.
Exactly.
In one, and not only was he averaging, that's Kwame's stats. Those 2 years, Gilbert was a 25. He was basically a 23-5, 5 rebounds, 80% free throw shooter, 37% from three, 43%, 43% shooter from the field. So obviously Gilbert was letting that thing go. You shooting 42%. Gilbert was like, I'm gonna put it on me. But those years, that 05 year, they went to the playoffs. So what do you want me to say about him shooting the ball too much? Obviously it was needed. So Steven Jackson, the Matt Barnes, I know, Steven Jackson's another one of those guys though, but Jack's different because Jack won a ring. Jack had a long career. Jack put up buckets.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is he's not the first guy that didn't live up to his potential in sports. So I can see your point with what are you really upset about? And to defend him in a little bit, is he really a bust? And I remember hearing those comments. Was he really a bust? He must not have been that much of a bust to play 12 years. When you think bust, I think Achilles Smith, I think Kajana Carter, I think, of course I'm doing a different sport. I think Darko Milicic, who I think wouldn't have been a bust had he not gone to the Pistons. There was nowhere for that dude to play.
At all.
Where was Darko going to play with Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Antonio McDyess? Them dudes was ready to win a title. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, but there have been some guys, man. It happens.
But there's been no guys co-signed by the GOAT. That's what makes him a bust.
There's been a few guys. Remember Adam Morrison with number 3?
But did Jordan co-sign this man?
Michael Jordan was the owner and the GM.
Here's why I can't. This is why I consider him a bust. I get 12 years because and that can be the argument all by itself. But at the same time, you're 7 feet tall. Somebody will continuously give you a chance. But you're 7 feet tall, co-signed by the GOAT, so that's always going to ring in somebody's head. Well, Jordan saw something in him. Maybe we can be the team that gets it out of him. Yeah, we'll give him 2 years. All right, Jordan saw something in him. All right, let's give him a year. And it continuously happened. What it comes back to for me, you can't be mad if somebody is telling the truth about you. So they're saying yeah, he was trash with us. He only averaged 5 points and 5 rebounds a game. I had to go out there and shoot the ball 40 times a game just to keep us in it. Well, you can look back and see the stats. Yeah, Gilbert Arenas was right. Or like, damn, Kwame was trash. Like he got used by insert player A, B, and C. Well, you can look back and you can see, all right, that dude was trash. Like, so my whole thing comes back to me, like, you can't go on these rants because you got in your feelings because somebody told the truth. Like, you can't get that, I'm a grown ass man, bro. You can't play with me. You can't play at all. Like, bro, you're not in Lithonia, Georgia no more. Like, you're not playing against little Peter Griffin, who's going to biology class with you. You playing with some other 5-star cats, or you playing with these second rounders who trying to make their next contract. And they looking at you like lunch meat because, well, you got co-signed by the GOAT. So I really want to see if you really got what they're talking about.
Well, here you go. Here's what really does it. This is really, at the end of the day, when you look at this draft, and I know they've mentioned these names, but, you know, Pau Gasol was in this draft. Tyson Chandler was in this draft. Jason Richardson was in this draft. Shane Battier had a nice career. You know, I loved Eddie Griffin in college. Eddie Griffin was a bust. I don't hear Eddie Griffin tripping. He was a 7th overall pick. Joe Johnson was in this class. Vladimir Radmanovich, I remember him. Richard Jefferson was in this draft. Stephen Hunter from from Chicago, played against him in high school. Zach Randolph was in this draft. Gerald Wallace was in this draft. Jamal Tinsley was in this draft. Samuel Dallenberg had a solid career. Tony Parker was the 28th overall pick. Gilbert Arenas was the number 31 pick in this draft. Met Meadowcore played for a number of years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, Carlos Arroyo was undrafted in this draft. Jamario Moon got time. Andres Nocioni ended up being a Bull, had good years with us. So, all I know is Gilbert Arenas, I can see what it is. It's like, yeah, well, I went the first round, you didn't. So, I mean, I'll give him that, you know, and I understand. But I see it from Gilbert Arenas' perspective because obviously I listen to him talk and I'm a fan of his, but
right.
So I'd say at the end of the day, Chris, like, the reason why he did it is for what's happening right now.
To get talked about.
Well, not only that he's getting talked about, Chris, you opened with one of the greatest epic Instagram rants of all time. So he just monetized himself once again. Somebody told him, somebody got in his ear and said, hey, Kwame,
you need to say something back.
Say something back. And because we're in the era that we're in, where you can say basically whatever you want. It's amazing what happened since 2016. You couldn't just say what you wanted without consequence, unless your name is Charles Barkley, in sports. Charles Barkley just don't care.
No,
because he's
never
paid
has.
to say whatever he wants. But
never has.
So look, man, at the end of the day, I read what Stephen A. Smith said back because I wanted to see that. And, he said, hey, listen, we got on him for years. He has the right to say what he wants to say. But it doesn't change the fact. I mean, and I'm with you with that. Like, look, man, you went in a draft with a lot of guys that had good careers.
Yep.
Nobody ever said the things you see in your house when you're doing a show, boy. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Terrible. Anyway, nobody's ever like the Allen Iversons, the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Shaquille O'Neals, the LeBron Jameses. Who am I missing in recent? I'm not saying he's in this category, but Dwight Howard's. Like these guys are one of ones, for obvious reasons.
Right.
And you don't have to be that guy. But when you get picked that high, you just got to have something to show for it. So, I mean, for him, I feel like he has the argument. I don't really know you call somebody a bust if he found a way to stay in the league for 12 years. That league's hard to stay in. All of them are hard to stay in.
I agree.
We know plenty of guys that was in the 3 or 4 years, way more talented than him. In different leagues and everything like that. Or injuries got in their way, or they just never could get out the blocks. And we give them a pass. Like, who's to say, like, maybe just the way he played, nobody ever geared to, like, putting the ball in his hands all the time. You got to remember, they drafted him, and then Mike came out of retirement. That's a whole, listen, I'm not defending that. But Michael Jordan's a whole different kid. It's one thing for Jordan to be the GM, but another thing to play with that dude.
But I'm saying,
I'll never forget.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll let you go. I'll never forget an interview he had in 2000. I think it was like the 2002 season. First year he came back. He said, I'm out here playing harder than the guys that are younger and have more talent than me right now at my age. I'll never forget that interview because I was like, dude, this dude is a G. Because I remember he was diving for balls and busting ass. And that dude was like 30, 38, 39 years old, but still getting buckets. So all I'm telling you is that it is kind of hard when you're number 1 overall draft pick and then the guy that drafted you comes out of the stands.
And I get that. I fully get it and understand it. But I feel like that makes it a little bit easier because now this takes the pressure as far as like the media goes, it takes it off you. Now the pressure gets added in practice because the dude that drafted you is now practicing with you. But like I feel like during the game, because Mike at 36, 37 is still going to garner a double team. Like it's just out of respect alone. Like whether he can still drive or whatever, it's going to garner a double team. Like it's going to garner another set of eyes to look at Mike. Like, he might not be able to take off from the free throw line, but he's still going to be about 80% from 17 and in.
Quiet as kept. Them Wizards highlights might be the best Michael Jordan highlights ever. Because how is this old ass dude getting all these young dudes to fall for the stuff that you shouldn't fall for? It's like everything should be a hand in his face. But he'll catch you though, because he'll spin on you, then you'll dunk, and you're like, oh, he still got it.
Exactly. So my whole thing is
that dude's freaking nature, bro.
If you got a guard that's checking Jordan, then that means whoever is the wing on that same side, they're looking at Jordan too. You as the big man, hover around the rim. Like get this little dump off once they send that second man. You 1-on-1, you 7 feet tall. Like you 7 feet tall, you 1-on-1. I expect you to get 16 and 12 probably. Like don't get me twisted. I'm a Dwight Howard fan. But like Dwight Howard had a couple real suspect years there in the middle. So like it was like, is he really? But even in his suspect years there in the middle, he was still averaging damn near a double-double. Like, and those were his suspect years.
Dwight Howard's I think he's a multiple defensive player of the year too.
Multiple.
I don't know how many. I don't look that up while I'm talking. So I get your anger with this. And also, let's be honest, Chris Turner versus Kwame Brown would be huge for the show. I wouldn't mind you fighting him. 3-time defensive player of the year. Matter of fact, Dwight Howard won the award 3 years in a row. And in regards to suspect years, I guess you can basically say they were maybe the Houston, Atlanta years. He was starting to get some tread on those tires, but which is hilarious because I know you don't look at stats. It's crazy. He averaged 13 and a half, 14, and 12 rebounds in both those years. So you literally made your argument without even looking. And then he went to Charlotte. He averaged 16 and a half and 13 rebounds. And then he went to Washington, where he only played 9 games, but he had 12 and 10. And then when he went to the Lakers, he knew he was going to be a backup and went into that role. It's like, I'm not the starter anymore. Because when you look at all his years, it's no matter what the games where he played, it was always, 82 of 82 or, 79 of 79, 78, 54, 54 in the lockout year. You know what I mean? If you want to say something about Kwame Brown is what gave Dwight Howard the belief. So if anything, you want to praise Kwame Brown. Honestly, if anything, he's really the gateway to Georgia. Like, he made Georgia kids believe, like, we do more than football. So I don't know, Chris, maybe it's to put another perspective on this, because I've been very quiet on this. Because I don't know how to approach this, because 1, I only saw a little bit of his rant.
Right.
2, he's not wrong for his rant. I mean, I round the show all the time about being disrespected. And I'm broke. So, I don't, I mean, hey, this guy is rich. I mean, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell the video was in a nice den he has. I love the line where he says, I bought my mother a house on a golf course. Now, that's a dope line. So was he really a bust? I don't know, because he still was able to afford the mortgage on that joint. I don't know, man. He might have paid that straight cash, though. It might have been like, hey.
Dude, I get it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't take away from the money aspect of it. Like, I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. I get it. But my argument comes back to, you can't get mad at somebody telling you the truth.
Listen, he underachieved as a player. There's no doubt about that. So I think to not take that credit, not to take that, is fine. But I can see, Chris, here's the thing though. I can see him being like, okay, I didn't play up to my level. Like, people didn't say that. The infamous line from Stephen A. Smith. And you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dude. Like, it's a different era. You don't really say that word anymore. But think about when somebody called you a scrub and what that meant in that time. I'm not going to put all your personal business out there. 1, because I don't know a lot of it in the era of the word scrub. But I'm pretty sure if somebody had the audacity to call you a scrub, they basically had to be dragged out of somewhere. This dude called him a scrub. Listen, like, Stephen A. Smith's hairline was even further down than mine is right now. You know what I'm saying?
So
I don't know. I lost you on Anchor, man. We might have to come back, man. We're on Spotify now.
Hold on. Give it a second.
Might have to send me another link, bro. I don't care what goes on with this video. I'm about Spotify. We can edit it and make that part 2. I can hold my thought. Must have.
All right, send another link. America, this has been the first part of the Kwame Brown conversation. Sorry, we are having technical difficulties. I don't know what happened, but we're going to come back with a little bit more about Kwame Brown. And then I got an epic, give me a minute to get into, because I've been wanting to have this rant all day too. So it's always the same question as it always is, and that is, what's good, America?
To be continued. What's good, America?